right, let's go. Big 12.
Big 12. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at Baylor versus. Okay, so West Virginia, Oklahoma State's going to be the 4-5 game. That's on Thursday.
Great game.
I want Oklahoma State to. I'm sorry, West Virginia fans. I think West Virginia is good enough to make a Final Four. I think really,
Same.
it's insane to look at the Big 12 bracket, and Oklahoma's a 7 seed.
Yes,
and they're playing tomorrow, and that's Oklahoma. What was it? 3 weeks ago, they were ranked like 7th, or they were 7th in the country, and now they
were tier 2, I believe. Andy was like this close to bumping them up.
So anyway, all of these teams, basically all the top teams, you could talk me into all the top teams in the Big 12 making the Final Four. So no disrespect to West Virginia, but I want Oklahoma State to win because what I really want more than anything is Baylor, Oklahoma State. I want Jared Butler to just go nuts because on Monday, Tate, Cade Cunningham was named the Big 12 Player of the Year. Not Jared Butler. Not the guy who plays.
What?
Not the guy who's one of the best defenders in the conference and the country, for God's sakes. Not the guy who's the leading scorer on the team that is almost undefeated. Is Tate Frazier undefeated? We'll say. Are they undefeated? Do you?
Yes, undefeated.
Coming off a COVID break, it's the one time they lost. I mean,
doesn't count.
Still undefeated, right?
Yep.
Jared Butler loses out to the freshman who, granted, Cade Cunningham's awesome, and he it's not that he doesn't deserve it. It's just like, if I'm Jared Butler, I'm pretty pissed off about this. And I wouldn't mind seeing him take it out. And also Cade rising to the challenge. I'm like, hey, man, I heard you're pissed off that I won Big 12 Player of the Year. Watch this.
Yes.
Here's why I won.
Yes, here's why. Yeah.
Here's why I won. That matchup has my attention.
There is something to be said about the fact that Cade Cunningham has these, we joked about him being Heisman moments. We'll call them Naismith moments or whatever the award is in the Big 12. For Player of the Year. But traditionally in college basketball, there has always been this sort of pecking order where the seniority rules, as stupid as it is, that's how it plays. So you and I assume that Jared Butler, de facto, seniority rules, by tradition, he would be the Big 12 Player of the Year. So the fact that we have the Big 12 champion. Scott Drew gets the hurdle, jumps over it, celebrates, going crazy, first time since 1950. We assume the next, the next thing that have the next chain, the next link is bang, Jared Butler, Player of the Year. And the worst part about this for Jared Butler is that this almost nullifies him for National Player of the Year a little bit because he can't be in that conversation if he's not Big 12 Player of the Year.
That's why I was
so
fired
now Cade
up.
Cunningham has now jumped him in that conversation. So
that's why I was fired up about it because before Baylor goes on their latest COVID pause, I would have argued, like when everyone was arguing, when Io really blew up.
Yes.
And there was the Io versus Luka debate about Player of the Year, National Player of the Year. I was ready to throw Jared Butler in the mix. I'm like, are we going to talk about Jared Butler? The guy's the team's undefeated. He's not carrying them, obviously. Baylor is deep, and they're good, and they have other shooters and great players. But, like, Jared Butler's the guy.
Yes.
He's very much the guy. It's not a Gonzaga situation where Kispert and Suggs and Timmy, and they're like a great team.
Yes.
Baylor is a great team, yes, but Jared Butler is the guy on that team.
We know who's going to get the ball.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I was like, I don't know. It feels like he could be National Player of the Year, but then he's not even Big 12 Player of the Year. That's wild. But, has it flipped, I guess, is the question. Has because like back in the day, as you said, like freshmen didn't win these awards, but the Big 12, I'm trying to think. Like I pulled it up to make sure I was onto this. Was
Durant won?
Durant won.
Yes.
Beasley won. Yeah, Beasley did win.
Yes.
Beasley won Player of the Year.
But
the year
those
after.
two guys,
so they were early. Big 12 were early adopters to like freshmen, but also Durant was National Player of the Year.
I mean,
So
exactly. I was going to say Beasley and Durant. Beasley.
Marcus
for some
Smart
reason,
won.
people have forgotten how big of a deal it was that Beasley was coming into college basketball, and the fact that like Beasley had his coach go be the assistant coach at Kansas State. He was must-see TV from the jump, so makes sense that he had the zeitgeist. He gets the vote.
Dude, Devontae Graham won over Trae Young. I forgot about that. That's so stupid.
But that's what we're talking. That is the example of what it usually is. Like this is Devontae Graham. This is the pick. But I think he's probably more of the pick. I mean, Devontae was amazing by the way that year. So
he was, but Trae Young is the most underrated. He might be the most underrated college basketball player.
Trae Young was putting up 30 and 10.
He led the country in scoring and assists.
Yes, and
did not even win
cared.
Conference Player of the Year.
Crazy. Because the backlash, he was so good that the backlash was so harsh.
ESPN ruined it.
Yeah.
Because they kept showing the Trae Young stat counter.
Yeah.
He's
the assist counter.
He's 0 for 1 with 1 assist. And we're
Yeah.
like, yeah, dude, we're 30 seconds into the game.
Yeah.
Like, calm down. Yeah. And then the backlash happened. Yeah.
He popped too soon.
Man, all right, other things to look at, I guess. Can I just shout out Iowa State? I think Iowa State is the best. I'm going to, in fact, I don't think this. I am sure of this. Iowa State is the greatest 2-win team in the history of college basketball. The greatest 2-win team. Like they've been close a lot of times.
Yes.
I don't want them to beat Oklahoma because that's devastating to Oklahoma's season, and that's devastating. I don't know how you come back from that if you're Oklahoma, but shout out to Iowa State. They're still fighting. They gave Baylor a great game. First game back from Baylor's COVID pause.
Yep.
It's shocking that they went 0 for 18.
That's what
in
America
the Big
started
12.
to feel like. Are we sure
Yeah.
Baylor's that good? But again, you're saying it like they're a really solid 2-win team. You know,
Iowa State is
Are
the
you-
best 2-win team of all
ever,
time. Of
ever.
all time.
Yeah, the boat.
Of all time.
The boat. The best of all time.
Yeah, the Big 12 is going to be. I don't know what else. Like the Big 12, it's just more of the same of what we've seen all year. That West Virginia, Oklahoma State's going to be awesome.
Texas Tech is the game for me.
Yeah.
That's the first round matchup, the last game on on March 11th. So those two teams I've liked a lot this season at different points. Chris Beard went to the title game the last time we had a tournament, so we have to respect him. Shaka Smart grew out the hair. I bought in from the Maui bump. We've had the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows. I want to see where Texas is right now and really judge Texas based on where they are right now at this very moment. They have the talent. We know they can put it together, but that game for me will be a nice, which one of these Big 12 teams do I really want to ride? West Virginia, Texas, Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Are all three teams, and Oklahoma. Those four teams are all dangerous teams in March. And then, obviously, we have the Kansas and Baylor at the top, the Big 12. Kansas, I'm still a little bit, finicky on. I can see why people like them. There's some games where you see it.
Here's the thing about Kansas. If their jersey said Iowa State, I think if they said TCU, you'd be like, I like this team.
Yeah.
I like it.
They're a little bit more scrappy.
It's just that Kansas isn't as good as we're used to seeing Kansas. So you're like, Kansas sucks.
Yeah.
And also, all the other blue bloods sucking, or some degree of it, is not
Kansas
helping
could
either.
win games playing defense, too.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I can see Kansas defensively getting to the Sweet 16 and then not having the horses from
Kansas
there,
was the best team in the country last year, and they're not this year. And I think if you're watching Kansas, you're just like,
Yes.
what happened to where's
Yes.
Azubuike? Where's Dotson? What's going on? I don't like this team. But
Oh, man.
Kansas is
I
still
wish
good enough
Dotson
to-
was on this team. Hey there. Thanks for watching Titus and Tate. For the full friend of the program experience, subscribe right below and come join us for all things college basketball. The action is heating up. Come join Titus and Tate.